So we watched Heretic, and it's about a couple of Mormon girls, converting people through a list of people that they have to go to, and they go to the guy's house, who's Hugh Grant, right? And basically, if you saw the trailer, he's trying to test their faith in a sort of Saw-like contraption, not like more like psychological than physical torture in a way, you think?
Yeah.
And this was directed by Scott Beck and Bryan Woods, who are people who helped co-write the first A Quiet Place. It stars Hugh Grant, Sophie Thatcher plays Sister Barnes, and then Chloe East is Sister Paxton. So Sister Barnes, you can kind of see she probably doesn't believe as much. She looks a little darker. She's more seasoned with this walking around trying to recruit people. And Sister Paxton is like the new one, but she's been in Mormonism all her life.
I wouldn't say Sister Barnes is like less like believing this less, or I don't know if you get that like from later on in the movie, but I think it's because Sister Paxton is like new to this and is very excited to, start this journey, right? It was her first time, trying to recruit. So she's just like overly excited, and the responsibility falls mostly on her because, it's her first experience.
We thought it looked pretty intriguing from the trailer. I mean, it doesn't show a whole lot. I mean, you get the basic premise. Of course, it's going to tell you the premise of the movie. So it's not that much of a spoiler. I think from the point of the doors, where you have to choose between the doors, it doesn't really show much in the trailer to give it away.
Yeah, I think it gives you like a basic idea of what's gonna happen to like catch your eyes, to catch your attention, and I think it definitely did. But watching the actual movie is a lot more. There's a lot more than that, right?
Yeah. So Hugh Grant, I mean, the point where they get to the doors, it's like almost halfway, or probably over halfway through the movie until they introduced the belief and disbelief doors. It takes a while to get there, which I'm not complaining. I like the whole conversation that kind of leads up to it. Like, Hugh Grant is basically like a psychotic Richard Dawkins. So if you don't know who Richard Dawkins is, he's like the most well-renowned atheist who would debate, people of different faiths about atheism and challenge their beliefs.
I feel like anybody could challenge any religion, right? Because there's always no religion's perfect.
Yeah, the beginning of the conversation, he's kind of like, he's intrigued by Mormonism. He's kind of like baiting them. He kind of brings up some awkward things, kind of like polygamy.
I'm surprised he brought that up.
And it kind of makes him come off as some sort of a creep to them, because they're like these young women, and he's like this older guy in their house. He says he's got a wife in the back, but he never introduces her.
But what's interesting is in the beginning of the movie, I don't know if there were a conversation between the two girls about sex.
Well, yeah, her watching pornography and like the soul leaving her body when someone knocks on next door, and it's like, keep it down in there. It just shows like Sister Paxton, like her naiveness, I guess, and kind of just sets up the characters, because Barnes is kind of like, just listening to her thinking it's kind of odd. Going on with their conversation with the Hugh Grant, Mr. Reed. Yeah, he's kind of like both charismatic and a little creepy. He comes off as he's basically just manipulating them into coming into that one room, because everything like locks down. His walls have metal in them, so they don't have like cell phone service. Like
someone challenging faith, or asking questions, which is normal. But he does give out like murderer, creep vibe because of some of the things he said, especially the about the wife and the blueberry pie.
Yeah, that brings it to a later conversation where he's talking about the redundancy, how this faith stole from this faith, that stole from this faith, and he uses a lot of analogies, especially using Monopoly, Radiohead's Creep, fast food, and Star Wars.
It's kind of funny, and I guess it's easier to understand because not everybody is familiar with all the religions and how they like evolve a certain time and how one impact the other. But like, if you give me an example of the Monopoly game, then I know what's up.
What I really liked about it as well is like it's got a lot of levity to it, a lot of humor. Even like when he's explaining the stuff, he does like the Jar Jar Binks.
I didn't understand the joke.
Yeah,
I heard people laughing.
I mean, we'll watch Star Wars sometime probably, so subscribe for that.
I also want to say that I didn't really understand 100% of the whole conversation. I feel like I missed a lot of things because
you don't have the cultural reference to some of it and everything, but you get the general idea.
Yeah, but I feel like I missed out on a lot of things. I feel like their conversation, especially, I feel like I missed a lot of things.
Okay, so what I liked about this, so I'm not going to spoil it, but everything leading up to it is like a slow burn. It's building up the tension for like over half the movie. I get where to a point it's like, okay, enough of this. Let's move on with the story. But I was like really into it. I'm like, this is like awesome because the performances from all three actors was fantastic. Hugh Grant is having a moment apparently with his old age. And then you have Sophie Thatcher who plays Barnes, who
very good.
She
really good.
She's the one that kind of like challenges him, like what he's saying and everything. And then Chloe East as Paxton, who basically is trying to she's like always apologizing to him, trying to like suck up to him just so she can escape. And she has this niceness to her that overly apologetic, which is, it plays into the humor a little bit. Like she's going into one of the doors and like thanking him and
yeah, but like I think a lot of her performance really stand out later in the movie.
Yeah,
like in the
definitely
at the end of the movie.
There's definitely some turns with both the characters. Yeah. So what did you think of it overall?
I think overall it's a very interesting story. I feel like these days not many movies really take drastic turns and make you feel like this is completely different than what I expected, but this one did that for me.
You said you liked it more than you're expecting.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think it's very smart that the trailer only mentioned the two doors and never mentioned what's behind the door. And I think a lot about this movie is what's behind the doors and what happened after they opened the doors. Like I said, like a lot of things were packed in the second half of the movie and a lot of turns. I feel like I didn't really fully grasp on what's happening.
Yeah. You mean after the door?
Yeah, after the door. So especially like going towards the ending, like things are happening really fast.
Yeah.
I feel like I almost need to rewatch this movie to grasp the whole idea of it. But in general, I think I really enjoyed this movie. And if it's a movie that got even like your thought linger on it after you watch it, it's a good movie. It's a good sign that
Yeah, I was like really into it the first half of it, and then they go behind the doors and I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
I don't know where this is going. And I think I liked it just as much because, as a person who watches a lot of movies, I'm not surprised very well, very, very often.
Yeah.
So, but I think at a point, it's like around the third act, about the last maybe quarter of it, I wasn't as much into it. I was starting to have some problems with it, like the big revelations and...
Yeah, I think maybe it's because I didn't fully understand, but I think the part where Hugh Grant was explaining what he's trying to do or what he's trying to like push this like message through your head, I couldn't really fully follow him almost.
Yeah, I mean I followed it, and after thinking about it for a couple of days, it was a little disappointing. Like it was a letdown.
Yeah, I got that. Yeah, I think it kind of like ended with in his own head. It's just like a small world, almost like his own rabbit hole.
Yeah, and it's like,
is that did I get the idea? Because I still don't really remember.
Okay, so it's playing with if there's like supernatural elements or not. Okay. So they introduce a character in the basement, and you're questioning yourself. So basically, everything with the blueberry pie candle and saying he's baking his wife is baking a blueberry pie. It's just challenging, like, if he can make them believe certain things. Like, that's the psychological torture part of it. Like, I made you believe in blueberry pie was being baked, and it really wasn't. But is it? Because a blueberry pie is
because it was being baked.
So,
okay. Well, it's just like,
I mean, I've had a lot of issues with third acts and like horror movies this year. It seems like I feel like if Longlegs' ending was on this movie, and then this movie's ending was on Longlegs, I would like both those movies better. I just felt like the ending was a little horror tropey, and it didn't really have the same energy as like the first like 2/3 of the movie.
Yeah, I mean, the first half is really good. You have to admit, even the pacing got a little slow right in the middle, but
yeah,
building up tension, it was really good.
So what are your overall thoughts and your rating?
I think this one is 3.5 for me at the very least. I feel like it's got potential to go higher.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I really enjoyed the first half of the movie.
You think you would like it watching it again more?
I think so. I think
Okay.
if I watch it a second time with subtitles,
Mm-hmm.
I think it can easily be a 4 out of 5 for me, because I like thrillers. I don't like super gore. I like stuff like this, and kind of mess with your head. I like anything psychological. I like to feel tension, which I think is why I enjoy thrillers in general. And even though this movie talks about religion, it's not very extreme. It really debate on the very surface level of it.
Yeah,
so I didn't feel too,
And it doesn't come down to one or the other. There's ideas behind religion and how it makes people feel versus like the practicality of it. And yeah, I'm an atheist, but I like the compelling like back and forth with all the characters.
But like I would say that in the theater, I did not really fully understood the third act or a lot of things that happened there.
Yeah, it goes pretty wild with the believability of it.
I think up until the point where Hugh Grant was explaining his idea, I was following to that point.
Okay, yeah, he made it more confusing.
He made it a little bit more confusing, and then what happened after that is just way too fast for my brain to wrap around it. Yeah.
Okay, so 3.5. I think I'll go 4. I really enjoyed like the 3/4 of it, right? Yeah. So. Man, I was like, is this like a 5 or 4.5 star movie? But then the ending happened, and it's just a little too tropey and stuff at the end. I wish it just went in a different direction.
Really?
Yeah. Why?
What do you mean a different direction?
Different direction, like I was saying with Longlegs ending. Like
you mean the ending part, not
yes, the ending. Yeah, I loved the dynamic between all the 3 characters. Even like you kind of learn more about the sisters too. Paxton, she seems very naive and stuff, but you find out that she's like actually very observant.
I at first I was like, this character is kind of weak, like I'm not really paying much attention to her until later on. There are a lot of things going on in her head. She just choose to be polite.
Yeah.
And subtle.
So we ended up both liking Heretic. If you liked it, let us know down below. If you didn't like it, it's just our opinion. Hit that bell icon, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you later. Bye.